Okay, here we go again. Campfire story number, I don't know, I think this is 4. Thanks for listening, Daniel, again. Last podcast was kind of a serious one, so now we're going to do a not so serious one. I'm going to tell you about the time I broke a toy lightsaber and may have damaged some property in the process. So let me explain. Sophomore year, it was a band trip. Sophomore year, every year we would go on some sort of band trip in the spring. Usually after UIL, just kind of a celebration, just a kind of, a big thing to go kick back and relax and, get away from the pressures of playing your horn all the time. We would usually go to Port Aransas. We would the band would rent out a series of condos there. You'd have like 6 or 7 people staying in one big condo. They'd give you money for groceries. You got to go to the H-E-B one time. You pull your money together, and then you eat like kings and queens for the next 5 days. Well, my sophomore year, this is year 2000, the district said, okay, we'll approve a trip anywhere you want to go, as long as you can pay for it, on one contingency plan. You have to compete at something. You have to go to some sort of music festival or some sort of music competition. You have to compete. This year will not be a super fun trip like you guys are used to. And we're like, oh, well, okay, fine. So we decided to go to Washington, D.C., capital of the United States. It's awesome. Had a fantastic time there. I got to see, and I haven't been back since. I got to see all sorts of, I got to see the Washington Monument and Lincoln Memorial. I got to go to Arlington National Cemetery, which is one of the most humbling experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Awesome time there. So we went to compete, and I'll get to the lightsaber thing in a second. I just have to quickly explain how bizarre some of the aspects of the trip were. So we had to go to this music festival, and I don't remember what company put it on. I do remember that that we did have to play. I think our contest was at Howard University, if I remember correctly, and I kind of want to look that up because I don't want to get that wrong. Yeah, we played at Howard University. It's in Washington, D.C. And there were 3 other ensembles that were there, and I forget where they were from. So we go there and we play. We do our thing. We did pretty well. And then afterwards, they had like a little award ceremony. Now, I was a sophomore, and apparently, like, even the seniors we were never used to doing like a wind ensemble competition. Yeah, we did the whole marching band thing. We knew exactly what to do during retreat. You'd set up your block. You'd either stand at attention, you'd stand at rest, and you stood there until you were told to move. Otherwise, you didn't move, you didn't talk, you didn't do anything. It was a very disciplined activity. But for the whole wind ensemble thing, we didn't know what to do. None of us had ever been in that situation where you had to sit in an auditorium and wait for results. So we just did what we did during the marching contest. We filed in, and we filled our section, and we all sat down, and we didn't say or move or do anything until, they started the award ceremony. However, the other 3 ensembles are going completely crazy. They are running up and down the halls of the auditorium. They are standing on chairs. They're throwing paper airplanes all over the place. It was chaos. And we're just kind of sitting there, and of course we look like snobby kids because we're not participating in all the madness. We were just kind of looking at our watches going, hey, is it time to go yet? We're hungry. One wind ensemble that was there, and I swear to you this is a true story. One wind ensemble that was there had a hand puppet. Like a real live, like Sesame Street hand puppet. And the backstory was that was their little band mascot. So, like, one of their section leaders would stand up and he reached into his backpack. It was so bizarre. He reached into his backpack and he pulled out this hand puppet. And, of course, it looks insane. It looks like they forced the puppet designer, like, to stay up for 72 hours straight. And they said, okay, design the first thing that comes to your mind. They'll go, okay, here you go. And it's this crazy looking thing. And its mouth flaps open and it's got weird hair. And it's running up and down the hallways. At one point it got like super close to where we were and like tried to get us to get up and chant and go and scream and stuff. We weren't buying any of it. We just wanted to go. We didn't even want to compete in the first place. The district forced us to be there. So then they start to announce the awards. We won everything. Then they forced us to go to this this dance that they had at a hotel that wasn't even in Washington, D.C. I think we traveled like a couple of miles south to Virginia. And there was a dance at a hotel. And they crammed us all in a room and like, hey, y'all all make friends now. Like, okay, great, thanks, appreciate it. There's nothing like being young and being forced into social situations that you don't want to be in. So the next day was our last full day in Washington, D.C. And they kind of let us go around downtown doing whatever. They gave us a bunch of cash. And they said, this is for your souvenirs. And if you want to go do anything that's going to require admission or anything like that, here's the money to take care of it. They said, your buses are going to be parked here. Be back around 5 o'clock. And then we're going to take you to the mall. And then dinner will be on your own there. You guys can walk around, do whatever you want. So my buddies and I, there are 5 of us in the hotel room. This is important. Trust me in a second. We go to the mall, and we're like walking around, and we're trying to find something stupid to do because we're idiots. And we're like, hey, look, there's a KB toy store. So we walk in, and we start looking around, and we find this stuff. And then one of my buddies goes, guys, get over here. And we heard him, yelling out our names from a couple of aisles down. So we run over to him, and he's standing in front of this display. Star Wars Light Sabres, $15 a piece. And we all look at each other, and we all had that aha moment where we go, okay, we're all going to buy this, and we're all going to fight to the death in the parking lot. So all 5 of us bought one. Didn't make any noise. That would have cost another $20. So, of course, we start testing these things out in the store, and the management came over and told us to stop. So we bought those things pretty quickly. We get back to the hotel room, and, we're, fighting with each other in the hotel room and everything, and then finally the band parents come along, and it's like 11 o'clock at night. They say, okay, guys, you got to go to bed. Okay, great. So we all go to bed. There were 4 buddies plus myself in the room, 5 people total. I volunteered to sleep on the floor. Everyone else got a bed. So I slept in the middle of the 2 double beds on the floor. Put extra blankets down, that whole thing. All right, guys, good night, good night. And of course, right on cue, the second I start to fall asleep, they start jabbing me in the sides with these damn toys. And it wasn't playful stuff either. It was like, okay, let's get him to say ouch. Or let's get him to say ow or something. So they keep hitting me with these things, and I'm like, okay, thanks. And it's one of those things where it was playful at first, but because I wasn't reacting, they tried even harder to annoy me. So that kept happening. That happened for like 5 minutes straight, and I'm like starting to lose my temper, which I typically don't do. I'm not a violent person by any means. This was during my sophomore year of high school. For some reason, I got very lazy with my schoolwork my sophomore year, and I don't remember why. I mean, I had never failed a class or anything, and I never got in trouble at school. But for some reason, I don't know. I was just real lackadaisical when it came to my book studies. When it came to the band stuff, I knew all the music. That was the one thing that during that year, I was like totally focused on. So of course, when you get home and you're used to bringing home mostly A's and high B's, all of a sudden you're starting to bring home mid B's, low B's. Parents usually don't react very well, and they were going through issues of their own. So stuff at home wasn't exactly peachy. Stuff at school wasn't exactly peachy. It was kind of a crummy time in my life. It was kind of a very crummy time in my life. And I had already signed up. I said I was going to try out for drum major going into the next year for my junior year, and I ended up being one of the assistant drum majors. I think the audition was like a month after this trip. So I had all this angst. I had all this young teenager angst. I was getting madder and madder by the day. I felt like the world was against me. I finally have a decent time in Washington, D.C., 3,000 miles away from home, from my parents, and all that stuff. And then my friends are trying to intentionally hurt me with these stupid Star Wars lightsabers. I don't even like Star Wars. I still don't like Star Wars. I'm not into it. I just bought it because everyone else bought it. So the way the story was told to me was that my buddy was like, okay, we're going to stop now. He decides to put the lightsaber on the nightstand, which is right next to me. It slipped out of his hand and it hit me in the head. And that hurt. And I'm sure young people and old people that are listening to this, I'm sure you've had this situation where you're out with a group of friends and somebody says or does something that is a little bit over the edge, a little bit cross the line. And everyone in the group recognizes it instantly. And at that point, everybody gains telepathy. And they all tell each other, okay, let's calm down. That was over the line. Everyone needs to chill. That's the kind of silence that filled the room. So I got up, I grabbed the Star Wars stupid $15 lightsaber. I went over to the hotel window. I opened it, which I didn't know it could open. I just literally yanked upwards on the windowsill and it opened. I cocked my hand back and I tossed that thing out the window and it smashed in the parking lot. Nobody else said a word to me the rest of the night. Like I said, I was not, and I'm still not, a violent person. I've never been in a fist fight. I never react physically that way. The next morning, we get up and it's time to get on the bus and it's time to get on the plane to go home. My buddies were like, dude, we're sorry. We didn't mean to do that. I said, it's okay. It's fine. No big deal. And I was totally like, it was like that. It was like an epiphany for me. It's sort of a metaphor. It's like, hey, even if people are giving you crap, you don't have to take it. You don't have to sit there and be prodded and poked and into madness. You don't have to do that. You're a person. You get to do whatever you want. And it was a good release for me. It felt good to damage that thing. It helped me a lot. So anyways, we go downstairs. We eat breakfast at the hotel. We get all our stuff. We check out. It's like 10:30 in the morning. Our buses were parked right in front of the hotel lobby. So you walk out of the hotel lobby, walk directly onto the bus. So we walk out of the hotel lobby, we look to the right, and we see that this stupid piece of Star Wars plastic crap is broken in like 1,000 pieces in the parking lot. It's still there. No maintenance guy came by to pick it up. And of course we all chuckle and laugh. And then we look at the Lincoln Town Car that the lightsaber actually hit. And we notice that there is a big dent in the trunk, on the trunk, of the Lincoln Town Car that was there. I may have damaged a car with that thing. I didn't pay any attention to it. When I threw it out the window, I didn't look to see where it went. I just heard it smash and, okay, mission accomplished. But no, there was a beige Lincoln Town Car. I don't even think they make that car anymore. And there's a big old dent in the trunk. Oops. My bad. The way I see it, it's a small price to pay to keep your sanity. But man, that trip was awesome. I needed that trip personally. Pretty bad. Thank you all very much for listening. I got more stuff coming back real soon, and I hope you all will keep listening. Take care. Adios. Bye-bye.